travelers, and luxury destination adventurers. It's now time to enjoy the journey on Enjoy the Journey with David Hartman and guests. And now, here's David Hartman.
In the Keys.
We are live. Hello and welcome everyone to the Enjoy the Journey Luxury Travel Show, live from the Key Largo Conch House in the beautiful Florida Keys. We especially like to thank and welcome the Radio A1A and the Cruising Country Radio listeners, A1A Media Network and affiliates, our podcast partners, and our live streaming viewers around the world. Thank you for joining us today. I'm David Hartman, the owner of Fantastic Endeavors Travel Agency. And I am the travel agent that always asks two questions. What is your bucket list trip? And where do you wish you were right now? I bet you wish you were in the Keys, but I bet you also wish you were on a luxury cruise. And I have a very special guest today, Alberto Aliberti, the president of Atlas Ocean Voyages, a premium sponsor of this travel show, has come down to spend some time in the Keys and join me on the show today. Thank you for being here.
Roughing it in the Keys.
Yeah. So please like this video, please share it wherever you are, and please leave a comment. Any questions about travel and also luxury cruising, or as you watch the show, if you got a question for Alberto here, please tell us. We'd like to hear from you. But first, we also like to thank our sponsors. Chip Bell, author of the Jake Sullivan series, chipbellauthor.com. Jim LaPointe, talk to Jim LaPointe for the best mortgage rates in the Keys. And also, please check out the new music store on radioa1a.com. That is a brand new feature of the network. Also, Atlas Ocean Voyages. This is our third person from the Atlas team on the show, and they are a premium sponsor, and we appreciate them for being here. Atlas Ocean Voyages offers smaller ships designed for Luxe-Expeditions that extend the reach of adventure travel by sea, with their first ship launching in July 2021. Venture to small villages and remote locations, from the desert city of Petra to the frozen tundra of Antarctica. To experience Atlas Ocean Voyages, call David Hartman, 305-453-9208, Dave at bucketwishtrip.com.
You know, they may be called smartphones, but they are handled by regular folks like you and me. And we break things. Well, no more freaking out about breaking your smartphone, because Keys Smartphone Repair is here. Just click or call keysmartphonerepair.com. That's keysmartphonerepair.com. keysmartphonerepair.com. It's fast, professional smartphone and tablet repair, located in Tavernier, mile marker 90, keysmartphonerepair.com. Click it now and save.
The Health Genie System Checker answers 3 important questions when you are feeling ill. What is wrong with me? How ill am I? And where can I receive care? System Checker puts the information and answers at your fingertips with the most advanced triage and healthcare technologies available. Engage on a personal level in your own words to describe your symptoms with no smart trees or drop-down menus that force self-diagnosis. Health Genie System Checker provides an avenue to early healthcare engagement. Hello, David Hartman with Fantastic Endeavors. Fantastic Endeavors is a full-service travel agency based in Key Largo, Florida, specializing in custom individual and group travel. Our luxury travel advisors inspire people to answer 2 questions. What is your bucket list trip? And where do you wish you were right now? Fantastic Endeavors will personally tailor your journey to your needs. We build extraordinary, enriching experiences curated just for you. Call us today at 305-453-9208 or email at dave@bucketwishtrip.com. Enjoy the journey. We also appreciate the Key Largo Conch House, where we have our show. They are a wonderful location sponsor, and they do have updates to their menu. They are open 3 meals a day from 7:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. except for Tuesdays. They will cook your catch, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and honkfish is always on the menu. And they are now bringing back a limited menu more to full menu. They have the barcode enabled menus, so it's all safe. The homestyle conch is back, very exciting. Scallops brulee, this sounds unbelievable. I saw that. That's like creme brulee but scallops. I think we're getting into go order. And then the New York strip for you meat lovers is back on the menu, so check that out. Alberto, I can't say enough about the Atlas team. And when I heard you were coming down in June, because Brandon Townsend, your VP of sales, told me, and I was like, I said, a president of a cruise line is coming down to be on my show. This is great. And your support of your whole team has been amazing. And of course, I'm supporting back. I have a group on one of your cruises we'll talk about. So how it's going to go today is we're going to learn more about Alberto, how they came about creating Atlas Ocean Voyages. Then we're going to talk about Black Sea cruising. You're going to want to stay tuned for this because there's a unique itinerary that includes an excursion to Chernobyl in the exclusion zone and the famous reactor meltdown from '86. We're going to talk in a little bit about that because Albert has done the excursion just last year.
Yes.
So stay tuned. And then later on in the show, we're going to talk about the cruise that I'm putting my agency behind, which is the Solar Eclipse Antarctic cruise in November, December 2021. And we're going to get into more details in the weeds about that and my exclusive pricing I have in that cruise. So stay tuned. So first, Alberto, how did you get to Florida? How did you get involved in cruising? Tell us about yourself.
Well, Dave, thanks for asking me here, first of all.
Yeah.
And I've been in the cruise business in total about 29 years.
Wow.
And I went on board and started on board as a receptionist, believe it or not. And it was, quite frankly, it's just kind of a sabbatical, get away from corporate business. Previously, I had been an officer in the Marine Corps. And after 6 months, I got kind of hooked. And you know how that happens.
Yeah.
And I worked my way up on board ship, became a tour manager, and then transitioned over to corporate life. Worked in the big companies for a while before I got picked up by a at the time, small company in Portugal. It was called Douro Azul. Douro Azul is owned by a gentleman named Mario Ferreira, who is a very, very well-known entrepreneur in Portugal.
Okay.
During the 15 years I was with the company, we grew from just 4 small riverboats to now approximately 17 companies around the world, including many areas of tourism, hotels, tour boats, attractions, museums, and such. And the newest project we have at Mystic Invest is Atlas Ocean Voyages. It was decided a number of years ago that we were going to have a small ship. That was decided before it became vogue.
Okay.
Because we were going to have a small ship and because we built so many vessels, we had building slots in Portugal. And what we did was we started getting contacted by a lot of other vessel operators who wanted to take our building slots. So we said, well, okay, we'll go ahead and charter a few ships to you.
Okay.
And those ships are in charter in Europe right now. But then we decided, let's go ahead and look at the American market. And we got a large investment. We received a large investment from a fund in the US who actually also agreed that maybe we should give a try for a new brand in the US market. And we started Atlas Ocean Voyages over a year ago as far as a brand, but in concept it's been on the table for well over 2 years. What we decided is if we're coming to the US market, where's the white space? What does the market want? Our company is a luxury company. We always operate in the 5-star range. And we decided that we wanted to stay with that top level client, but we wanted to give something a little different.
Okay.
A lot of the top level high luxury companies, which are fantastic, tend to the luxury on board ship, but then ashore, sometimes they're a little plain vanilla. What we decided to do, we wanted to go for that guest who was looking for that bucket list voyage, who was looking to visit those sites that are a little bit, to use a term, off the beaten track, and also to, when they get ashore, to take the most out of that location they can.
Okay.
For that reason, we decided on a company that was going to be what we called Luxe-Adventure. Luxe because, yes, we absolutely represent the top end of luxury. We are an entirely inclusive product, including air. So from the time you leave your home until the time you return, everything is included. Air, room, drinks, tips, tours in select ports. We include all of this so that the guest is comfortable on board, but then what we do is we visit some unique spots and give a little bit more edgy experiences for those who want it. Of course, we're going to visit the standard spots in those locations, but we're also going to take you on things like whitewater rafting, 4x4ing in the hills, bungee jumping if you wish. Yeah. So that's where we settled, and we're finding a lot of positive results, a lot of positive interest in our product.
Well, I like the fact that small ship cruising is a niche I really started to turn on to by customer request.
Yes.
As I developed my agency the last 12 to 15 years, I first was just a scuba diver, and even that was niche. But then I got into cruising. I learned about these great brands that are out there, and all of a sudden clients were requesting Antarctica and Iceland and these niche Corinth Canal in Greece that only certain ships can fit through. So I learned about you guys because we talked about Michelle Suarez. Hey, Michelle.
Hey, Michelle.
We miss you. And we knew each other from a previous relationship I had for a company. And I started researching you guys, like, okay, they're building a small ship with the icebreaker hull, with all the amenities and the staff on board that you really can go anywhere.
Yes.
And that was point one that really said I can really look into these guys. Point two, where I really got sold on promoting you as an agency, I don't just promote any brand, even though I represent them all, is your destination immersion. And that's why I'm excited to talk as we go on about Black Sea in your MAX excursions program. I mean, that to me is where cruising's going. Because 16 days for the younger explorer is a lot on a cruise ship.
It is.
But if you mix it up with the land portion and hey, time off the ship, now you're kind of cutting into the river cruise traveler, which to me is brilliant. Because river cruising is the hottest trend in cruising ever, and you guys are kind of like crossing over to that.
We are, and being also a river cruise operator, our holding company has the third largest river cruise fleet in the world. So being a river cruise operator, we're experienced with immersion in land because obviously river cruises visit more ports and more closely. We decided to take that edge and to take people to unique places and to explore, enter in depth these places. And one of the neat things about our ship is you're going to be on board with a lot of like-spirited people who that's what they're searching for. So the onboard environment benefits also.
Yes. The ship looks beautiful, and it's the World Navigator. It's launching next year in July of 2021. Yes. And that's why I love working with a new brand, because you guys are doing a new build and you're doing the ship the right ways. In this current era, cruising is coming back, by the way. Right now, cruises are not going out. Very few are going out. It's nice if there's big changes to how cruising works, you guys are currently building your ship and are ahead of that.
Exactly right. It's exactly right. What we're doing is, people often ask about safety and things like that. Well, we're building those safety measures right into our ship. And interestingly enough, the thing that we're finding, which is the safest element, is our size itself.
Yes.
Our ship only carries maximum 196 guests, but in reality, it's going to be carrying many fewer than that because of singles, because we like to hold some cabins back. So for that reason, a guest can be assured that they're going to be traveling in a vessel with 170 to 186 people.
Yeah, that's nice.
That in and of itself, I don't know if you recall, years ago, a popular term was space ratio.
Yes.
And space ratio is how much space does each guest have on board. Our ships have among the highest space ratios in the industry. And that's an important comparative. And this is just a comparative number, but to give you the relative, our space ratio is about 0.51. A premium cruise line is about 0.4.
Okay.
it's a magnitude of difference of 20%, which is noticeable, because now what happens is a guest can engage in social activity, but if they want to be isolated, if they want to be separated, we have a lot of little nooks and crannies around the ship where they can relax alone.
And that's what's nice about a smaller ship in a smaller environment. It's almost down to yacht cruising, where you basically are creating your own vacation. Obviously, the ships that hold like 6,000 people are popular for a reason,
Yeah.
but I also have a lot of clients that will never step foot on those ships. And so, well, I have a product for you. You know, it's small enough to get to ports that other ships can't be at, which is important on regular shore excursions. The number of people in port is a factor for you getting anything done or anything booked. So, and then in the Mediterranean, there's a lot of ports. Well, a lot of places in the world, there's a lot of small ports that are just rich in destination immersion that you can only see by the smaller ship.
Well, I was going to say, that's absolutely right. You bring up a good point about large ships. One of the things we do at Atlas is we actually thank the large ships, because what we're finding is that they've introduced cruising to a lot of people. And people get excited about being at sea, and then they get excited about the ports. So then they come to a company like ours, which goes to unique ports. And then, furthermore, to what you said, some of these destinations cannot be reached. They can't be, some of them can't even be reached by land. So we are able to take our ships into the small coves and areas that are not easily accessible, and even more so, we're able to use our Zodiac inflatable boats to take them ashore in areas that aren't even prepared for tenders or anything of that nature.
Yeah, I think we talked about with Brandon, you have like 18 Zodiacs on board?
Correct, 18 Zodiacs, so that when we're in Antarctica, and there are only 10 to a boat in Antarctica.
I mean, you guys are definitely doing it right, and I like the fact, and Brandon and I really talked about this a lot, is that you're not just coming out with like a fleet of ships.
Correct.
And so tell my audience, what is the rollout plan for World Navigator and then the following ships?
World Navigator's coming out in July of 21. It's going to have its inaugural voyage departing from Malta, headed to Athens, before it spends the year in the Eastern Mediterranean area of the Black Sea, Holy Land and such. That will continue on to Antarctica, and then in 22, towards the latter portion of 22, we'll roll out our second ship, which is the World Traveler. The ships are physically similar, but the itineraries will be quite different. The only thing that both of the ships will be doing at the same time as Antarctica, because it's so popular and so much on people's bucket list itineraries. Then we're coming out with 2 more ships in 23, and then a ship in 24. So total we have 5 ships into our Atlas Ocean Voyages fleet.
Impressive. And then you'll have a lot of different itineraries.
We will. In fact, in the future, look for ships going to Asia, looks for ships doing world cruises, so we do have a lot of things planned as the fleet grows.
I like it, and for those of you, it's atlasoceanvoyages.com.
Yes.
To book an Atlas cruise, please contact me, a preferred partner with Atlas Ocean Voyages, 305-453-9208. Fantastic Endeavors is my travel agency. Or Dave at bucketlisttrip.com. And talk about a perfect partnership. I'm a bucket list expert travel, and they are really, all their itineraries are bucket lists as far as at least where they're going. And when Brandon was on, we talked about bucket list Mediterranean, because it's just unique ports, because Mediterranean is very popular. Alyssa Logan was on, we talked about South America. But today we want to talk about something else. And our theme today is the Black Sea cruising. You do launch, what's your launch date next year? And then I believe you said your 3rd cruise is Black Sea, correct?
Right. We launch in July, and July will be the Malta to Athens, and actually the 2nd and 3rd cruises are going to be Black Sea. What we decided to do, in keeping with this spirit of unique ports and bucket list endeavors, which by the way is why your agency is so important to us, because it's geared exactly to what we do. We're going to offer the opportunity to circumnavigate the entire Black Sea. We're going to do it in 2 fashions. Our first departure is from Athens to Odessa, and it will take in the slightly more popular locations in the Black Sea, while of course throwing in a few unique ones too. Then after that cruise, what we're going to do is we're going to continue the circumnavigation to the eastern portion of the Black Sea, which is much less visited, with many smaller ports, and also it gets into Russian ports, and even Georgia, where few people have ever been.
Georgia, okay.
So the Black Sea effort will be our 2nd and 3rd departures of the season in 21.
So it starts out in you said Malta, right?
Well, the first departure will be in Malta. That's the
Yeah.
inaugural departure. The first Black Sea departure will be at the end of July, July 28th,
28th.
heading out to Odessa. So it will pass through the Bosphorus,
Yeah.
and then when it gets to Odessa, it will then shift to a follow-on with a 9-day voyage that will take it down back to Istanbul.
Impressive destinations.
We're fortunate. Of course, again, marquee destinations like Istanbul and such, yes, of course. But we'll also be going, I mentioned Georgia. That's a place that very few people have been to. It's an area that, politically has kind of always been crazy. Who does it belong to and these things. Now it's safe, so we're able to go there and experience not just the small city of Batumi, I shouldn't even call it a city, small location of Batumi, but also too, in keeping with our style, we take our guests deep into the hills, which, interestingly enough, this is wine country.
Really?
And,
in Georgia?
In Georgia, we do visit vineyards.
And keep in mind, folks, this is not Atlanta, Georgia. It's a republic, isn't it? It's a nation state. It's a nation. It was a former Soviet republic.
It's a former Soviet republic, exactly.
This is in Eastern Europe, Georgia.
And that's one of the neat things about our voyages is people sometimes have to look up on a map, where the heck is this place?
Trust me, I did, and I sell world travel.
Thank God for Wikipedia, because people are learning about these different destinations. And for example, in Batumi, Georgia, in and of itself, it's a unique destination. But then you throw in there the fact that it's in beautiful countryside with great valleys. So how do we visit the vineyards? Well, we'll take you up in a 4x4. We'll explore the area, but then to return, we'll take you back down in a whitewater raft. So we river raft down from the vineyards to return back to the city. That's just an example of how we like to do things, just a little bit different.
Sure.
Also, we're going to be visiting a port, Novoruski, which again is a small and very unknown port in eastern Black Sea, which is now that's in Russia. So between Novoruski and Sochi, which is a little bit better known because of the Olympics, from there we'll have a chance to go up to Moscow if a person wants to go up to Moscow.
Very nice.
We'll even have the chance, quite frankly, to go to the beach, because those are the beach destinations for the Russians.
Black Sea has beaches.
Black Sea has beaches. Very few people know that.
Well, I have a friend that knows Sochi well, because he was from one part of Ukraine. Most of them are from Odessa. I grew up with a person from Odessa, so Ukraine is something I've always known about growing up. But the fact that you have a cruise doing all the Black Sea, really the only time you hear about Black Sea now is a once in a while cruise on a smaller cruise line, or sometimes a river cruise will pop in there. Yes. But to actually do a full itinerary of the Black Sea is, I think, just phenomenal. And I like about this area that you're doing is the longer cruise. Actually, clarify with me this new MAX program. Please talk about that. And is that on all those cruises of the Black Sea, or just what you call the Black Sea in full?
What we're doing is, because we have so many explorers who want to see more, then what we've done is we've taken the two Black Sea departures, the Essential Black Sea and the Black Sea in Depth, and what we've done is combine them, and we're calling it a MAX Shore experience. MAX Shore is for those guests who put those two voyages together. We're giving a land vacation in the middle of two cruises. And this is an inclusion, this is not an additional charge. And the reason for that is, for those who want to explore more in depth, you're able to leave the ship in Odessa, where we're remaining for 3 nights overnight, depart the ship, fly up to Kiev, see Kiev, which is a place that cruise lines don't visit, obviously, because there are no ocean up there. Fly up to Kiev, see Kiev, but also uniquely explore the area of Chernobyl, which is Pripyat in Odessa, and the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. Now this is something that's well off the beaten path, something that's not a unique destination, but that's, again, what we want to do. We want to bring people to these unique places where, when they get home, they're gonna have real stories. But before they get home, on board, they have some great stories, because they're able to sit and share with like-spirited travelers in any of our nice lounges, and to enjoy talking about these unique experiences that probably they will never be able to get back to these places.
When you mentioned the exclusion zone, the Chernobyl experience, and it was actually Brandon he said, Alberto has already said he wants to talk about the Black Sea because he's done some of the excursion. He mentioned Chernobyl. I said, that'd be interesting. And then I actually prepared for today's show and interview by watching the Chernobyl series, mini-series on HBO, which came out last year, award-winning. There's some factual discrepancies, but overall, 100% people say, at least it does cover the story well. It is a little bit of Hollywood there. But check that out on HBO Max or HBO On Demand if you're a subscriber. It's only 5 episodes, about an hour each, but it is a phenomenal series, and it'll get you really into. But do this before you go on this Max Shore excursion. And you went last year.
I did.
As part of just exploring something that your company's going to do. Is that correct?
It's true, and I have to be frank, I actually did it before we even made the company Atlas Ocean Voyages. I actually did it on my own just to do something different.
Hey, why not? And somewhere else to go.
Somewhere else. When you're in the travel business.
But wait, are you feeling okay?
I feel okay. I don't glow.
Did you glow at night?
Interestingly enough, people talk about the radiation. You actually get more radiation on the airplane over than you do on the land when you're inside the exclusion zone.
Yeah, I'm sure COVID's more of a threat than Chernobyl.
Yeah, there are other things out there that are more threatening than the lack of radiation in the exclusion zone. It's been a lot of years and it's been treated, and the areas where you go are very safe.
Yes.
And what I did was I planned this trip because it's not just a unique destination, it's a unique part of recent human history.
Yes.
We all lived through this. We learned, as you learned from the show, that there are a lot of things about this disaster that people didn't know about, that weren't really publicized. Well, it's made more tangible because you're able to actually enter the city where these people lived, where they watched the destruction and fire, and more so what we do, because it's typical of Atlas Ocean Voyages style, is we have secured private visits inside the reactor building.
Really?
It's not something that every visitor gets.
Wow, that's impressive.
It's a very unique experience, and what happens is there are 4 reactors. Number 4 had the disaster. We take you into reactor 3.
Yes.
We take you into reactor 3 control room, which, again, if you've seen the show on TV, it is exactly like the one on TV.
Yes.
It's the true reactor control room, and interestingly enough, people don't realize that building is still used as an electric switching station. So it is still part of the electric grid of Ukraine.
Now, but the nuclear reactors are no longer working.
Correct.
They moved to a different oil-fired.
Correct. Well, they're in that site, none of the reactors are used. Okay. And that's something that's very important to point out.
Sure.
Of course, when you go in, you do have to dress with precaution, but that's just a normal precaution. And throughout the trip inside of Chernobyl and inside of the exclusion zone, they take a lot of precautions to make sure that no one is going to do something that would hurt them. The best examples are you have dosimeters on you at all times.
Sure.
They're checked 3 times a day. And in some places, you actually wear 2 dosimeters to give you a relative reading for just that location.
Measuring the level of radioactivity, or your experience.
Measuring the level of radioactivity.
Okay.
Now, there are paths that are cut through some of the areas because they want to keep you away from areas of a higher dosage.
Okay.
But you're never in danger, and that's one of the things that's important to explain to people. The experience is unique because we're talking about a disaster that happened in our lifetimes.
Yes.
Recent history, but it's one that we didn't really know about when it happened. And it's something you can learn. It's very different.
Well, just to kind of back up for people watching who are maybe younger, don't know or don't remember, but the Chernobyl nuclear power plant disaster was late April of 1986. I was in high school at the time, but even then the pictures made the news. It was a big deal then because this was a complete, not a meltdown, a complete explosion of a nuclear reactor. It had never happened before. It was not supposed to ever happen.
No.
And that's what this mini-series goes into, like how could this have happened? There's many reasons why. Wikipedia does, I think, a pretty good job, as best they could, of summarizing the accident, what's been done then. They actually not just have one, but a secondary confinement over the old reactors.
Yes.
So that's how safe it is. And there are people now moving back to certain parts of neighborhoods. But it goes beyond Chernobyl. And if you do this unique excursion, you'll research this. But there's an exclusion zone they had to evacuate initially around the reactor. Then they decided, because the fire blew for so long, that over 1,000 square miles is now the exclusion zone.
Yes.
And people don't live there anymore. People left their lives behind. Most have not gone back. I mean, most left their pets behind, which is a big piece of the miniseries, by the way. And I said, I had no idea it was such a big area of Belarus and Ukraine. I mean, this was a major catastrophe. And then tourism has started there about 10 years ago, so they started taking unique tours in. And now it's becoming a more, I'd say commonplace. But for those of you that want to go somewhere you haven't been before, you could do this with Atlas Ocean Voyages. And then on the Black Sea in full, you actually include this excursion?
Correct. When
Wow,
we
it's
do
impressive.
the Black Sea in full, which is the 7-night and 9-night, 16-night total voyage, we take you off the ship for a 3-night experience where you can see this, and in addition, you get to see Kiev.
Kiev, nice.
Interestingly enough, on that voyage, before you even get to Odessa, you're going to go to Bulgaria,
Yeah.
you're going to go to Romania, you'll have a chance in Romania to go ahead to Constanta, and then you'll be able to go to Nesevar in Bulgaria, and when you go to those places, you'll see different aspects of, again, former Soviet Union, some medieval sides of the architecture, and again, they're Byzantine and Middle Ages architecture too.
So way back, not just the Soviet era.
Correct. It's not just a recent experience.
Sure.
Those places have been important and on the map for years, for centuries. Of course, when we go to these locations, we visit the highlight spots, but we also give opportunities to do some more other fun things. In one of those areas, we have a rappel opportunity, which you can choose to do. It's important to note that with our adventure experiences,
Sure.
we have that edge, but the person coming on doesn't have to want to do all of these things. We still have a luxury product where they can sit and have a few drinks while it's discussed. That's a place for perhaps partners who don't want to take the edgier side can enjoy themselves. So they will be able to also experience the great, normal, I should say, popular and more known locations in these port areas.
And that's exactly what you said about the ship. One thing, we're talking about the itineraries, but check out the ship online. Also, the itineraries are listed too at Atlas Ocean Voyages. It's also, they have a great Facebook page. Your social media team's doing a fantastic job. We've been working with them for pictures. And they're Atlas Ocean Voyages on Facebook. And check out this ship. This is a luxury ship. Even though we're talking about doing some pretty adventure destinations like Black Sea and going to Chernobyl and going off to Moscow and going to Antarctica, you don't really have to leave the ship to have a great time.
Correct.
So for the more retired clients that just want to chill, it's also still a phenomenal cruise.
And the ship was purposely designed with that in mind.
Sure.
Our ship has a lot of observation area. And one of the things we have is we have the waterfront lookout. And what that is it's the industry's lowest over the ocean lookout position. It's 30 feet over the ocean. In fact, it's so low that you can't stay there when we're navigating in the seas. It's only when we're doing slow cruising.
Sure.
Imagine being just 30 feet over the dolphins, the whales, the penguins, whatever seas we are flying at the time. And then in addition, that's the lowest part. Then at the top part of the ship, we have a lounge that's completely encased in glass, including a glass dome. And we're going to call it the Dome. And that lounge is a fantastic place to spend the evening or any time of the day, just observing everything around you. It has 260 degree view.
That's beautiful. And I've been on a lot of nice ships, and this ship, I can't wait till it launches next year. And as you know, I'll be on it in November. We'll talk about that soon.
Can't wait.
But we are here at the Concourse on Radio A1A and the A1 Media Network for the Enjoy the Journey Luxury Travel Show. We're here with Alberto Aliberti, president of Atlas Ocean Voyages, a premium sponsor of our show. We're talking about luxury cruising, and we're just wrapping up our discussion of Black Sea and the full Black Sea itinerary. Check out their itineraries and the ship, the World Navigator, launching next July at atlasoceanvoyages.com. If you want to book a wonderful, unique cruise, a bucket list true experience, contact David Hartman with fantastic numbers. That's me, 305-453-9208, or Dave at bucketwishtrip.com. And also bucketwishtrip.com is my website you can check out too. I mean, I like where you guys are going with the niches. What's nice is these are popular when you have more ships. You can run them regularly.
Exactly.
For Black Sea, to wrap up Black Sea, the cruise that will get you your included experience, which that's a phenomenal inclusion. That's just not like you walk off the ship and see the village. This is an expensive excursion on your own. The itinerary that's available still, right?
Yes.
For
yes.
booking, and you can book it through me. My agency is July 28th to August 13th, 2021. Is 16-night experience from Athens to Istanbul. It's on the World Navigator, and it's called the Black Sea in Full. Best way to see about the cruise and download this PDF right here, it has all the details, is check out atlasoceanvoyages.com and go to our destinations. You'll see the Black Sea ones listed. And you also have a nice Holy Land one listed too.
We do.
That a 24-night comprehensive Anatolia to Holy Land. So while we're here, mention that one too,
Sure.
because that one's on the same flyer our followers will say.
After we visit the Black Sea, and after you have the Black Sea in full, which again is a full vacation within a vacation, we then continue on to the Holy Lands, and we have similarly 2 voyages, one that sails down over the Anatolia in Turkey down into the Holy Land, and it will debark in Jerusalem. And then we have a follow-on cruise which embarks into Jerusalem, continues on to Egypt and back up into Greece. And what we do on that 24-day Max Shore experience is we debark the ship on your first port in Israel, and then you have a 5-night Max Shore experience. And it will
Off the ship?
Off of the ship.
Wow, that's
this
unique.
Is again an inclusion. This is an inclusion for those who
If you do the full
entire voyage.
24-night cruise.
Correct.
Okay.
And that vacation is going to take you all throughout Israel, all the way from Masada, Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, the deserts, overnight camping and such. And then what we're also including is Petra, which is
Very
in Jordan.
nice.
That's
I've been
talk
there.
about bucket list. Well,
yes.
that's a great bucket list place. Everyone has seen it,
Yeah.
and a lot of people don't even realize it when they get down there to the first temple. And when you go into Petra, we'll do it a little uniquely, and that is we will stay in a glamping area outside of the gate of Petra and be able to see it in the morning also, which is unique because people don't go there that early in the day.
Sure.
We'll return back to the ship and then continue on to the pyramids and then through the Greek islands back to Athens. So that's the 24-day Max Shore experience in the Holy Land. These are great experiences to start out our ship and to kind of let people know what we're about. An interesting thing about our ship, which we get questions sometimes, is, well, you're doing all these great things on land, but what's the quality like on the ship?
Sure.
And that's why we use the term Luxe Adventure. You're talking about a completely inclusive, top quality luxury ship.
Good point.
When our guests are on board, what's different from our luxury experience to other top quality ships? And the interesting thing is we are a casual, relaxed elegance. We are not a ship, we're not going to have tuxedo nights. Quite frankly, we're not even going to have suit and tie nights. It's a casual, relaxed atmosphere.
I like that.
The best way I would equate it to is if someone had a club at home or someone had a private area they like to hang out with some of their peers, yet high quality service. So as you're sat there relaxing with your friends, it's the same as, let's say you were at a club at home. You would expect those people to know your name, know your drink, be able to provide you these things in top quality crystal or the best champagnes and things like that. We have all those things on board.
Sure.
But then we complement it with things like tapas, snacks, crafty cocktails, and different local beers. So it's kind of again, going for that great experience, but twisted just
Sure.
a little bit with an edge.
The inclusiveness is a key, because when you guys look at their website, when you contact me for a quote, at first you may get some sticker shock, but you have to think about the inclusion. Look what we've been talking about for the last 15 minutes. I mean, these are marquee, really thousands of dollars land journeys if you booked it on your own, included with the cruise. Then all your premium beverages, premium service online, butler service
Butler
for
service in the suites.
in the suites. And I've had butlers before, and once you go butler, you never go back. I've told the story too many times, but I had a suites for some corporate groups I told you about. And, so the biggest story is, like, we'd have parties in my room for the vendors. And they go, oh, I got to clean up, guys. The butler will get it. I mean, they are there, like every beck and call. But the key is the inclusiveness, and that's why I like what Atlas is doing. I've just learned about this MAX program. I'm still refreshing it. And we're talking about adding on a full land trip while your cruise is sailing. I mean, it's very unique what they're doing. I really like what you're doing. And I do appreciate that. Even when we're going to talk about in a few minutes, your Antarctic cruise is unique because of what's happening when we're on there, to kind of lead in there. So if you're interested in the 24-night cruise, we kind of added this onto our discussion today because we had time. The comprehensive Antalya to Holy Land, Istanbul to Athens, August 13, September 6, 2021. Includes a full 5-night, 6 day, 5 nights on land, your max shore, Israel and Jordan. I've been to Israel. I sold a lot of Israel and Jordan. For those of you who remember me selling Egypt and the Red Sea back when that was safe to do before 2011. And I've been to all those countries and they're phenomenal. And when he reeled off the destinations of Israel, you're seeing those are the best of the best. When I planned trips to Israel, those were where we sent people. And Petra is on everyone's bucket list. You see Indiana Jones' The Last Crusade, that is the temple at the end. Temple of the Crescent Moon, that's Petra. It is one of the top 7 places in the world for just seeing a picture and want to see it. So check that out. And if you're really gung-ho with your travel planning, you can ride these back to back. So you can book January 28th and just stay on the ship the whole time until September 6th and get 2 max shore excursions included. Right. The Chernobyl Experience, which is the 3 days, 2 nights, Odessa, Chernobyl, and Kiev. And then you can also do the Israel and Jordan on the other cruise. And that's the way to do it. And I have a lot of clients that book back to back and you just see so much more. And we're talking about cultural immersion. We're talking about a cruise line doing something different with a product. And we're talking about a cruise line that's not affected by the current crisis because they haven't launched yet. And they are a sponsor of the show, but I just wasn't looking for sponsors. I was looking for a partner I could really put my brand behind, and that's what I've done. And I've had my agency 16 years, and as I said, I don't just market or partner with everyone. And I really appreciate the products you guys have created. They're truly unique.
Well, likewise. And again, I frankly have not done shows with other agencies for the same reason, because we are select about who we deal with.
Appreciate that.
Your agency has selected unique departures. Now, again, we'll talk about the Antarctic departure shortly because that is very unique.
Yes.
And it's interesting to note on all of these voyages that when you're on the voyages, you mentioned something really important. It's all included.
Yes.
We want to make sure that the guest is comfortable because, and this is important as it relates to the sticker shock, our guests are well traveled.
Yes.
They realize the value of what they're getting. And they know that if you were to go on a cruise line that's asking for a couple bucks for this or a couple bucks for that, that at the end of the day, it's going to add up to the same thing.
Sure.
So what we do is we fly our guests over, and right now, in fact, for bookings made before September 30th, we're actually upgrading all suites to business class air.
Really?
Yes.
That's right. Oh yeah, the business class upgrade. I have a client that's looking to book Antarctica that I said, hey, clock's ticking, because he wants that business class air.
And that in and of itself is worth thousands of dollars for anyone who was going to book the cruise. So free air has become a very important part of our cruise experience.
I agree. Thank you guys for joining us today. Appreciate being here. We're going to transition next to a different cruise, but please remind you to like this video and share it. Put a question in the chat. I haven't checked on questions yet because we've been busy talking about itineraries. After we talk about Antarctica, I will pull up questions, we'll address them. But ask a question about luxury cruising, a question about Chernobyl, he's been there, and a question about the different cruise itineraries we're talking about. The best resource to find out the itineraries is atlasoceanvoyages.com. Please like their Facebook page, like my pages, Fantastic Endeavors, A1A Radio, A1A Media Network, Cruising Country Radio. We appreciate those listeners being on today. I know you guys are on the audio feed and are trying to visually paint a picture of what we're doing here today. And all the podcast listeners that will listen to this after the fact, appreciate the support from the podcast listeners and all of our affiliates today. But again, please like it, throw a comment in and tell us what's going on. Do you want to cruise on a cruise line like this? Do you want to be on just a 200-person cruise with all the booze included, and you can just call the butler and say, hey, I need more Stoli to prepare for my Russian trip? Well, that series is so good because they all drank vodka all the time.
Absolutely.
You got to watch this Chernobyl series. It's smoking and drinking vodka is the whole thing. It's a great series. But these are things to know about a cruise line, and this is why I focus my agency on luxury. Of course, I have clients that book just cruises. My friend Dawn's going to book a trip to Disney tomorrow, I think. And those are things that I do, but I like the customers that want to discriminate and say, hey, I want to do something totally unique. Take me to somewhere I've never been before. And odds are they haven't been to Chernobyl or a number of other destinations, or Georgia. That's a phenomenal one right there. So absolutely fantastic. So before we head into questions, we do have plenty of time to address your questions and comments. Today I'm waiting to the end to do that, so stay on. If you put a comment, we'll address that. I first got turned on by this by Brandon Townsley, your VP of Sales and Trade Marketing, his presentation on Antarctica. I've sold Antarctica. I have not done it yet. It's one of my bucket list trips. And I've also wish I've seen a solar eclipse. When it came around 3 years ago, my mom lived near an area, but it became such a headache to go out there. Everyone said 10-hour waits. I'm like, so I wish I'd seen a solar eclipse. And when I heard the presentation on your solar Antarctic cruise, I'm like, that's the definition of bucket wish. And right then we were in talks to have you guys sponsor the show. And I said, tell you one thing, whether or not you sponsor the show, I am adding a group to that cruise. And you don't have a lot of groups on that cruise.
No, we limit the number of groups on our ships. And the reason we do that is because we don't want the ship to be taken over by any one group of people. What we do is, again, in this spirit of community on board, we want it to be an experience where people can interact and get to know each other. So a comment about the unique nature of the voyage you've selected.
Sure.
It can't get any more unique because, quite frankly, that experience doesn't happen again for 400 years. So it's the only time in 400 years that you can see an eclipse from the southern hemisphere, and interestingly enough, the moon will pass over the sun from east to west. It doesn't happen again for 400 years. We get a lot of interest from astronomy groups, we get a lot of interest from science groups, because this is something that you can't view. And what we do is we are able to pull the ship into the proper latitude. And for those who follow these sorts of things, there are places on the Earth better than others to see these experiences. We pull our ship right to the proper coordinates, and we're able to watch it there. We stop the ship, we quiet it.
Wow. We
have on board a world-famous photographer who's going to have classes before we get there about how to photograph this experience. If you have a tripod, please bring it, because you can set your camera in a stable place and do time-lapse photography of the entire experience. It's a very unique thing to do.
And we're talking about a cruise to Antarctica, which is the lost continent, as they say. There are some people that actually live there, but it's not even a true country. And it's known for its wildlife, its rareness to get there.
Yes.
And now we're adding into that, after you see Antarctica for like 6 different stops by Zodiac, you're going to see a total solar eclipse, which is a rare event. And in this region, it's once every 400 years. It's also going the opposite way, which is even rarer. I did all the research on that. But this cruise is November 28th to December 10th, 2021. My agency, Fantastic Endeavors, does have a group booked on board at exclusive discount price, and you can only get through me. And so if you want to book this cruise, contact me. Message me on Facebook, or my number 305-453-9208, or dave@bucketwishtrip.com. I have details on this cruise, including my group pricing, on bucketwishtrip.com, my website. So please check that out. And this is going to be a unique one, and we may include time in Buenos Aires. I may do something different. I know you guys were already talking about doing some pre or post.
Yes.
But this includes round-trip airfare from 16 cities, and until September 30th, includes business class air for suites.
Correct.
There are suites available. For a very good client of mine who wants to take his family. It's him and his wife and a 10-year-old, and kids over 8 are allowed.
Yes.
And he's looking at that, he's really eyeing that business class option, and he's definitely going to book. It's a matter of, is it going to be the regular cabin or the suite? Right. But that business class air may weigh him over. And honestly, for the cost difference, it's like free business class air.
It is, basically.
I mean, because business class air can be a lot of money. I mean, upwards of $10,000. It's a unique cruise, and the airfare is included. It'll have all the inclusions we talked about, and on a true luxury ship. Scientists on board, naturalists on board, a professional photographer on board, which I wasn't aware of. Amazing.
Also professional astronomers coming.
Astronomer, and then the classes are included?
Absolutely.
Classes on board, there's some travel time. We fly round trip from your major gateway to Argentina, their international airport, EZE, and then from there we go from the regional airport to Ushuaia, which is the deep south by the Straits of Magellan, and then from there we board the ship round trip Ushuaia, do Antarctica, and then where does the cruise go after Antarctica?
What happens is when you board in Ushuaia, you have a couple of days where you cross what's called the Drake Channel, a large body of water between South America and the peninsula. You stop at a couple of Antarctic islands. People didn't realize Antarctica also has some islands off of it, but then you go down to what's called the peninsula, which is continental Antarctica.
Okay.
You spend about 4 days cruising in that area. What you do each day is you have a Zodiac landing in the morning, as well as a landing in the morning. So you can only bring 100 people ashore at a time in Antarctica.
Okay. That's because of permitting?
Permitting and to protect the wildlife.
Of course, wildlife comes first.
The preservation of the wildlife in Antarctica is managed very, very well. We don't bring more than 100 people ashore at a time, and while those 100 guests up to are ashore, the other half of the guests are out on Zodiacs enjoying the sea life. The naturalists on board are adept at going to the areas where they will know what type of sea life is in that area. This cove may be seals, that cove may be penguins, that cove may be whales. And so we take you to the different coves to enjoy those different sea lives. When you go ashore, it's unbelievable how the wildlife is right next to you. One of the jokes is you have to be 15 feet away from a penguin, but the penguins don't know that. So if a penguin comes to you,
it's your responsibility.
You can just watch. You just stay still, and I've had penguins come up and just kind of tap at my calf and just see what's going on. It's very, very neat. I feel like I'm the best person to promote the Antarctic for a very simple reason.
Sure.
I don't like the cold. The joke with me has always been that I enjoy winter from my television set. So frankly, when I went to Antarctica the first time, it was a work trip, and I went down to inspect for work, and I begrudgingly bought all the proper equipment, which, by the way, our website will have the list of what the proper equipment to buy is. That'll be put up soon. And I went down, and from my first 5 minutes ashore, I was just overwhelmed. It is like nothing else in the world. It was interesting when my Zodiac touched shore, the naturalist on board said, "For how many of you is this your 7th continent?" And it was light bulb. Oh my God, I've now visited all 7 continents, and that's a true bucket list endeavor. Then ashore, the wildlife, of course, many, many seals. You'll learn all the different types. Sea lions, which get very friendly with you, so sometimes you have to stand your ground with the sea lions. And then also ashore, in the ocean with the whales is just an incredible experience to describe.
Yeah, I mean, you just said the big 5 of ocean touring right there, and all in a few different ports in Antarctica. Yes. And that's what Antarctica is all about. I mean, people often want to go there just because it's bucket list. I've never been there, but it's really a true adventure for the wildlife.
It is.
And no polar bears, that's the north, but plenty of penguins. I heard plenty of penguins.
A lot of penguins.
Different kinds of penguins,
different
too.
Species. And it's important to note that on your voyage, on the voyage for the solar eclipse, you actually go to South Georgia, which has a type of penguin that is only located there called the king penguin. And it's one of the largest species. It's only the 2nd largest species next to the emperor.
I'm excited. Who wants to join? Come along. November 28th to December 10, 2021 on the World Navigator from Atlas Ocean Voyages. Bucketwishtrip.com. I have all the details there, and my exclusive pricing. You cannot find pricing. I always hear from my friends, "Hey, why should I use a travel agent?" Here's a good reason.
Absolutely.
Better pricing, and also I will be on the cruise. I booked this group, and I used to do destination travel in my early years, and it's just, I was like, it's hard to sell destination travel. I said, well, you know what? I'm putting my feet back in the ring all at once because I want to back this cruise because it's that unique, and it defines my brand I built for my agency when I rebranded a couple of years ago, which is Bucket Wish Trip. This is it. I mean, total solar eclipse after you visit Antarctica, all on the same cruise, everything included, your airfare, your call drinks, your top shelf drinks, your Stoli in your room, whatever you want in your room. I mean, with a true brand new luxury cruise line that's only been sailing a few months when this happens,
correct,
with free courses from naturalists, scientists on board, photography classes, all that included. It's just an absolute dead ringer. And the airfare is key because the suites include business class and butler service. And so Everett, if you're listening, he's been holding out, make a decision on me.
Go for it.
I already have some people signed up. I'm definitely going to be there, so please join us on November 28th. And the promotion for the business class air ends on September 30th. So book a suite, get free business class air. That's like a $3,000-$4,000 upgrade, and you get butler service too, which is amazing. It's going to be a beautiful new ship launching next July, the World Navigator from Atlas Ocean Voyages. You're going to want to experience this ship. I mean, today we talked about a lot of different itineraries, but if you want to sail with Dave, everyone admires me on Facebook. Look where Dave's going now. Now you can finally get to travel with Dave. Somewhere I'm promoting that I always wanted to go. Something I always wanted to see, wish I could see it right now, which is a solar eclipse while you're cruising at the Antarctic Peninsula, Antarctic Circle, crossing the Drake Passage, which I hear is always fun.
Yes.
And what's nice is there's some minor things you need to bring along that's going to be on their website soon. But overall, you guys supply the big heavy.
Correct.
The heavy lifting things to go on Zodiacs.
The two most important things, of course, is a polar capable parka. We'll provide that, and you will be able to take that home with you. And we also provide the boots, the mud boots that you'll wear ashore. And the reason we provide those is they are constructed such that when we take you ashore in those, we have to clean your feet with a special solution to prevent any cross-contamination ashore. And likewise, when you return, we have to clean those off to prevent the cross-contamination.
Very good. So you guys are well prepared for this type of work.
You have to respect the local ecology.
But check out all the itineraries at atlasoceanvoyages.com to more details about my bucket wish trip, what I'm all about with my travel agency, what I do and what I sell for my clients. Check out bucketwishtrip.com with exclusive pricing for the Solar Eclipse, the Solar Antarctic Cruise, November 21st to December 10th, 2021. Plenty of time to plan ahead and save money. I already got a deposit down in the group. I already got my cabin booked. Please join me on this great cruise. And Everett, stop holding out on me. We're going to go to questions because I have some for you. I got some I've seen in the chat already. Is this thing ready to go?
Yeah.
All right, let's see what's going on.
Uh-oh.
So what I saw in my messenger is that people were very jazzed about the Chernobyl excursion. Is there someone that shouldn't go or is someone excluded from going on that itinerary?
The only limit on that would be that you're able to walk or walk without assistance for a full day, because it is all walking. You can't take vehicles inside of the you can't take vehicles inside of the reactor zone or inside of Pripyat.
Okay.
It's gated. Otherwise, no, it's fine. Again, there's no health issues, so you don't have to worry about that.
So as far as health-wise, health restrictions, age restrictions, anything?
No. In fact, when I was there was a person who was quite elderly on my tour, enjoyed it for the same reasons that we enjoyed it. It's unique.
That one too is like, man, I may have to wait for next year for that one. That's excellent. There was a question which I'm going to answer, which I already did. Are kids allowed in your... Actually, well, you can clarify it for me because it's different for Antarctica. So in general, one of our followers, I believe it's, I know, Robbie, thank you. Are kids allowed on your cruise ship? And what itineraries?
We are very, very kid friendly.
Okay.
We are owned by a family man. The gentleman who owns our entire company, Mario Fejeda, has a family of his own, and so we bring children. We have children from young age to, whatever, and the only restriction on children is in the Antarctic they have to be 8. And interestingly enough, the reason we have them 8 and above is because of the Zodiac. They must be tall enough to safely sit in the Zodiac as well as to handle themselves in the event if there were any sort of emergency in the Zodiac. That's the restriction.
Okay.
It's not because of anything to do with onboard. Because on board we have, obviously, first class medical treatment with doctors on board and such, so it's safe on board. It's just in the Antarctic we have to be careful in the Zodiacs because it does get rough sometimes.
And that's the safety is key. And then if people ever wonder about why these restrictions are there, either on ages or handicap accessibility, it's because of safety.
Absolutely.
First and foremost. And I like about you guys are really impressive on safety until you set up your Antarctica cruise. A really good question. This would be interesting, make you think a little bit. Denise is wondering, she's debating taking a river cruise in Europe, and enjoyed today is thinking about doing one of your Mediterranean cruises, maybe Black Sea. And why should she do one versus the other?
I have to tell you, Denise, that's a great question. I hope I can answer it well because I've worked for the company on the riverboat side and the ocean ship side. I will be frank, I'm a little bit more prejudiced to the ocean ship side.
Okay.
And here's why. The onboard experience, because the ship is so large and because we have multiple areas, more public areas than you find on a regular river cruise, of course they vary too. I like that. I personally like being at sea, and although our ship is stabilized, you will know you're at sea. And that's a great experience because on a river cruise, of course, you're always within sight of land. depending on which river. Sometimes the sites vary from, just kind of what you would see sailing any interior river in any country, up to the beautiful sites. So there's that. And then finally what we've been talking about, which is experiences.
Sure.
When you visit these out-of-the-way bucket list experiences, and when you visit these ports which are not accessible otherwise without a lot of effort, that's the unique element you get out of the Atlas Ocean River Voyage or any other ocean cruise that has small ships that can visit these unique places. So that's the biggest difference. River cruises have very well-established local ports with very well-established local tours. Our visits have ports which are not well-established. Sometimes we can only get ashore by a Zodiac boat. So keep that in mind. It comes down to, are you a bit of an adventurer? Are you somebody who wants to see something a little different and come home and tell stories that are unique? Or do you want a little bit more of a relaxed experience ashore, a little bit more of a regular thing that you can come home and share with those who've done the same thing?
Great question and great answer too. I mean, it comes down to choices, and I believe Atlas has created a wonderful choice for destination immersion, for inclusive experience. And these are things I have clients that like to sail that way. I like to sail that way. Right. And I've done numerous cruises, I've done river cruises, I've done them all, and I'm looking forward to trying your product. So we're getting towards the bottom of the hour. Just got some quick little housekeeping to wrap up. Really appreciate Alberto Terry.
So, you've done good. 2 out of 3. You've been
2
great.
out of 3. Knew I shouldn't have went for the third. Oh, there's one other question. Michelle Suarez asked, "Where'd you get that fantastic shirt?"
This is our company shirt, and I finally got it in the aubergine. Thank you, Michelle. I'll talk to you back at the office. This is our company color. We are doing everything a little unique. So we are with a unique color. If you look at our website, atlasoceanvoyages.com, you'll see a lot of aubergine, which I've learned is actually eggplant, otherwise known as purple.
That's a great logo. It's a great shirt. So it looks good on radio. Really appreciate Alberto being here today, the president of Atlas Ocean Voyages. Check out all their itineraries at atlasoceanvoyages.com. Any questions I didn't get to, or if you listen to us on podcasts, or if you're in the car or on the road with Cruising Country Radio, Radio A1A, please, when you get a chance, put them in the chat on our Facebook live feeds. And I always catch up on comments. Usually I'm on comments all afternoon for people who watch the recordings, and appreciate our podcast listeners. When watching the podcast, just message me directly any questions, or go back to our Facebook live presentation and do it there. And we'll also be on YouTube by tomorrow. So any YouTube followers, please also subscribe and like the A1A Media Network, and like all of our Facebook brands and pages. Anything you heard today about travel, the Black Sea, the Chernobyl experience, the Holy Land experience, for the 5 nights on land in Israel while you're on a cruise, and of course the cruise I'll be on, the Antarctic Solar Eclipse cruise, on November 28th to December 10th, 2021. Please contact me, your friendly professional travel agent, bucket wish trip expert, 305-453-9208, and Dave at bucketwishtrip.com. Find out about my Antarctic cruise, the group I'm sponsoring on board, and will be on myself at bucketwishtrip.com, my website. Please like this video and share it. And again, any comments we'll catch up on. And I really do appreciate everyone being today. I appreciate all of our podcast listeners, our audio audience, and all of our friends out there on Facebook Live and YouTube. It's been a phenomenal experience today. Having the president, Alberto, from Atlas Ocean Voyages. It's been a wonderful time. I appreciate the whole Atlas sales team. This is our 3rd member of the team being down here today. I appreciate Alicia Logan, Michelle Suarez, Brandon Townsley, Kathy Consuma, my buddies, for really helping us out and make it happen. Guys, it's been a fantastic Monday. You have a great afternoon, and watch out for next week. We may be here, or the show may just be roving around the Keys Monday. So stay tuned Monday at 2 o'clock next week. And you guys have a fantastic afternoon.
Thank you.
Atlas Ocean Voyages offers smaller ships designed for Luxe-Expeditions that extend the reach of adventure travel by sea, with their first ship launching in July 2021. Venture to small villages and remote locations, from the desert city of Petra to the frozen tundra of Antarctica. To experience Atlas Ocean Voyages, call David Hartman, 305-453-9208, Dave at bucketwishtrip.com.
You know, they may be called smartphones, but they are handled by regular folks like you and me. And we break things. Well, no more freaking out about breaking your smartphone, because Keys Smartphone Repair is here. Just click or call keysmartphonerepair.com. That's keysmartphonerepair.com. keysmartphonerepair.com. It's fast, professional smartphone and tablet repair located in Tavernier, mile marker 90. keysmartphonerepair.com. Click it now and save.
The Health Genie System Checker answers 3 important questions when you are feeling ill. What is wrong with me? How ill am I? And where can I receive care? System Checker puts the information and answers at your fingertips with the most advanced triage and healthcare technologies available. Engage on a personal level in your own words to describe your symptoms, with no smart trees or drop-down menus that force self-diagnosis. Health Genie System Checker provides an avenue to early healthcare engagement. Hello, David Hartman with Fantastic Endeavors. Fantastic Endeavors is a full-service travel agency based in Key Largo, Florida, specializing in custom individual and group travel. Our luxury travel advisors inspire people to answer 2 questions. What is your bucket list trip? And where do you wish you were right now? Fantastic Endeavors will personally tailor your journey to your needs. We build extraordinary, enriching experiences curated just for you. Call us today at 305-453-9208 or email at dave@bucketwishtrip.com. Enjoy the journey.
Come on, what are you waiting for? There's serving rum up, it's right next door. There's a party on the sandbar in the Keys. It's been a long